This clip was made possible thanks to Arcane Wonders. More about them after the clip. Hey everybody, it's Chris from Charity Board Gamer. I am here, of course, with the wonderful Justin. Chelsea is not with us tonight. She is currently getting prepared and ready for Gamma. She's going to be helping represent us at Gamma, which is going to be really cool. So if you are going to Gamma, please go say hi to her and make sure that she feels welcome and loved, because we love her and we want her to feel that way as well by the rest of the community. Tonight, of course, we're going to have another amazing guest. If you have not been on Instagram, the Family Meeple is quite a relaxing, family-oriented Instagram page that has like dice stories. They have like these top nines, which are a lot of fun. And then, of course, some cute unboxings that are just simple and fast and a lot more concise than mine. So, yeah. But we're going to go ahead. We're going to get ready. Just so everybody knows that as we're actually recording, we are going to not interact vocally or verbally with the chat. However, we will interact with you in the texting thing. What is it called? In the chat. Yeah. Yeah. So
we'll chat by text, not by voice.
Chat by text, not by voice. Yes. Okay. And we'll get ready and we'll have some fun. So give myself a little time. Woosaba. Okay. All right. Hey, folks. Welcome to the Meeples of Joy podcast. This is episode 12. Yes, I know we still haven't recorded in episode 7. Justin reminded me of that last week. And at some point, I will probably make up something and we'll just call it episode 7. So that's what it is. But speaking of Justin, I'm going to let him say hello.
Hello, everyone. For those who don't know, I am Justin of Play Games Spread Joy. Unfortunately, today we are missing Chelsea of Chelka's Corner, but we do have a special guest. Who do we have with us today, Chris?
Yes, we do. Okay. So back in, I think, about 2019, as I was starting to follow people and people were following back, there was this channel called the Family Meeple, which I really liked it. It had some family focus to it. But the thing that I got so heavily involved in even before the Family Meeple, was a thing called Dice Story, which was every Wednesday, somebody would roll a dice, and then, of course, you would highlight their channel on in the story section on Instagram. Well, this person has been consistent and amazing at keeping up with that. I don't understand how, because I remember taking hours to put things up there and put comments on there about the images and everything. And it just was like, this is crazy. So, but also we've had the chance to be able to play games with her. We've also had the chance to see just some of her amazing work that she's doing. She has like these nice top nines that look really nice and clean, and the imagery and photography is beautiful. And then also on top of that, some nice top-down unboxings that usually only maybe about a minute long. I think you shorten it somehow. So it's very quick and concise, almost like a real size. But that is a wonderful Alli White of Family Meeple.
Hi, thanks for having me, Chris and Justin. I'm excited to just chat with you guys this evening about the hobby that we all love, and that's board games.
Baseball. Oh, okay.
Oh no.
Sorry. I mean, baseball is coming back, so I'm not even excited. I'm a Cleveland fan, so it's just kind of like, all right, another year of disappointment. All right, so sorry, folks, if you are from Cleveland, you know exactly how I feel. So, and if you are not from Cleveland, God bless you. All right. So, Alli, tell us a little bit about what kind of got you into the realm of going through Instagram, and what that journey has become. Because before it was, just posting pictures, and now you actually have like this kind of nice, consistent content that as you look at the Instagram page, and folks, it's Instagram.com Family Meeple, but it's been a joy to just kind of see that grow. So tell us about what it was like getting into the hobby and then getting onto Instagram.
Yeah, I got into the hobby a little bit starting in around 2008, but I've been a board game lover probably my whole life. I have very fond memories of growing up playing board games, playing card games, that sort of activity. Got into the hobby in 2008 with Carcassonne. My brother introduced me to that game, and it just kind of blew my mind about what was out there in these Euro style games that really weren't in the mainstream in the States, at least at that point. I took kind of a slow journey from there to where I'm at now, and kind of started watching shows like Tabletop with Will Wheaton on YouTube. That was where I started at, and picked up a whole bunch of games that he featured on that show over the years. And then in like early 2020, I decided to start a blog about board games. I had started picking up more games and a lot to play with my daughters, who are currently 6 and 8. They were 4 and 6 at the time. And just kind of started from there, writing some written reviews, and jumped on Instagram. It was one of the easiest platforms for me to just get started on, because you can take a picture, share a very short blurb. It doesn't take up a ton of time, and just sort of was sharing random pictures and exploring what all was on Instagram, and finding all these fantastic gamers who are out there sharing this passion for the hobby. And ran across several people, like you said, that were doing the dice stories, and thought that that was a good way that I could give back to the community that I enjoy so much, and sharing other people that are out there and maybe not everyone follows or not everyone knows about, and just spending that time to go and look at someone else's Instagram feed and see what's out there. There's so many pages to follow now that you can miss people's posts. And there's amazing content out there that you just don't see, because I never get to the end of my feed anymore. I follow so many people, there's no end to my feed. So I started with that, and then started joining in on people who have started these weekly kind of challenges. So on Mondays, I try to join in for Mechanisms Monday and pick a game from our collection to share for whatever the mechanism is. And on Tuesdays, I try to join in with the Raksu Gaming, which is one word, many pictures. And so there's a common word that is selected, and then everyone takes a picture of their interpretation about it. And those are super fun. As Chris mentioned, I also on Tuesdays have started doing a Top 9 Tuesday. And I just pick sort of a topic that interests me, and pick out 9 games that fit into that theme, and add a little bit of kind of text about why I picked it or where it came from. And then on Fridays, I am starting a new thread with the Gateway Network Gamers group. And if you're not familiar with them, that's an excellent group to check out. Chris is part of it, and I believe Justin, you are as well. And so we will basically have someone from the Gateway Network come and give us a topic. It could be a mechanism, it could be a theme, it could be really anything at all related to the hobby. And then they'll pick a game and send me a picture. And then I'll pick a game, and I'm using the hashtag Gateway Game Off, and I'll put it in my stories and let people vote on which of the 2 games they prefer. And that's been super fun as well. But like you said, I do a lot of unboxings. Just when I get new games coming in, then I'll do a quick unboxing of it. It's just top down. I cut it down to be within the minute, where you don't have to actually click anything on Instagram to continue watching. So I keep it right under that 1 minute, and then people can just watch it in their feed.
Yeah, it's been enjoyable seeing kind of everything that you've been doing, and I have to say that I prefer Small Islands over Jeff's option. I don't even remember what Jeff had. Sorry, Jeff. But yeah,
It was Underwater Cities.
Oh, it was. Yeah, I
Mhm.
was kind of like, I'm like, okay, it's yeah, water stuff. It's good, you know. If I
Yeah.
want something with water in it, I'll go to the beach, and that feels good. So, but yeah, small islands. So I know Small Islands is all about water and islands, but such a beautiful game, such a beautifully made game. And what's crazy is that it's like 3 years old, and just
Mhm.
finally coming to the States. So
Yeah.
I think it was revealed at Essen a few years ago, and then people were like, "Oh yeah, Lucky Duck picked it up," and I'm like, "Yay!" So it's been great. What have been some of the latest games that you've really been enjoying?
Oh, the latest games I've been enjoying. So my kids are a little bit of polar opposites. One of them loves playing games. She absolutely loves it. She told me last week that she wants to design games when she grows up. She's 8, so we'll see if that changes, but she definitely enjoys playing and wants to play with me after school on the weekends. And so she recently, I picked up Yummy Yummy Monster Tummy for her from Lucky Duck Games. And she had loved Kids Chronicles, and we're almost done. We have one left on that. That's also from Lucky Duck Games. And she just loves that game. And so I picked up Yummy Yummy Monster Tummy because it's also app integrated and it's definitely kid focused. And she is obsessed with it. She was playing it by herself. It doesn't even really have a solo mode, but she just was playing 2 hands of cards and feeding the monsters herself. And whenever she has friends now that have birthdays, we've bought 4 copies of the game at this point and given 3 as birthday presents. So that one's been on the table a lot with her. I also do quite a bit of solo gaming. Although my oldest is a gamer, my husband is not really that into games. And so I do quite a bit of solo gaming time. And top of my list is Glenmore 2 for solo gaming.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also have picked up a few Alexander Pfister games, Great Western Trail 2nd Edition and Blackout Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
So those are on my list as well. So my solo gaming tends towards the mid-weight Euro for the most part, but Small Islands is also on my list, and Floriferous is on the list for the first half of the year as well. Yeah.
So good. Floriferous, Pencil first. It's like, okay, how do we top Herbaceous? Let's have watercolor beautiful flowers where you're trying to collect sets, and you can have a little bit of take that in the game as well. I love that. I love that. Don't get me wrong. I love getting the biscuit in Herbaceous, but there's something just beautiful about that game. I remember when Anna Maria was with Pencil First, and we had received a prototype copy to be able to show, and yeah, I fell in love with that one pretty quick. I've really been pleased with what Pencil First has done. What has been, now you said you've done some solo games. Now, what about games specifically with the kids when they were younger, other than Yummy Yummy Monster Tummy, which I hear is phenomenal. The fact that you've bought like other copies and given them to the kids for birthdays, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's a nice price point too for birthday gifts, and I know that my oldest Rory came back and told me that her friend that we'd given it to, I think last week or the week before, her and her sister have been playing it nonstop. So that's another thing that I like to hear is when we do give gifts that people are actually playing them. Some other ones that we've played when the girls were much younger, we did things like Sneaky Snacky Squirrel, which is actually quite fun. It's just a little silly spinner game, but with the youngest kids, my main focus was on teaching them how do you take a turn and how do you win and lose graciously.
Oh yes,
that's really the hardest part for them. Everything else, when it comes to getting into more complex game mechanics and getting into games that are less luck based, I'm not as concerned with that as when they're really little. We're just wanting to get in, learn how to take a turn, learn how to win and lose graciously. So Sneaky Snacky Squirrel was one. Probably my favorite game from when they were very little is from Haba Games. It's called Lumina, The Search for Lightning Bugs. And it's a twist on a memory match game. So you have a board with different locations on it, and then you place tiles around the board that are face down, and each tile matches a location that's on the board. So on your turn, you'll flip over a tile, and if it matches a location that's adjacent to you on the path, then you can move to that location and flip over another tile. And if it's adjacent, you can keep moving, and you can keep moving until you either reach a space that has a lightning bug token, which you collect, or until you flip over a tile that you're not adjacent to and you can't move. And so the first few turns, you're just kind of flipping over these tiles. You don't know what's there. And it's a little bit of luck of, am I next to the random tile that I'm going to flip over? But as players continue to flip over these tiles, you memorize where each of those locations is at. And so you can program and move all the way across the board if you can remember where the different locations are. And so that one was really fun. It's one that we enjoyed and I have not gotten rid of because I can't get it back again. So we're hanging on to that one. They love Haba games a lot. Brandon the Brave was a favorite. My First Carcassonne was a favorite. Those games where you're just kind of learning to place those tiles out, learning to make connections, learning to think a little bit strategically, where on like My First Carcassonne, all of the tiles connect. So you don't have to worry about that you can't place it at all. But just learning that, how do I rotate it so that I connect my own roads and not someone else's? Or how do I place this so that it makes it difficult for the other players and, you know, easier for me? So those sort of decisions.
I like that. There's something that you said that I think is very important. And I think sometimes even as adults, we sometimes have a hard time with, and losing graciously. Losing graciously is a hard thing, I think, for people. So what were some of the ways that you kind of trained and taught your kids about losing? Because I know winning feels great. Don't get me wrong, winning feels great, and of course there's chances where we brag and get excited and get very proud. But the thing I always find interesting is the losing graciously, because when you're dealing with younger ones, sometimes it's like, that's not fair. I don't like this game anymore, and then they immediately hate the hobby. So, you know.
Yeah, that's a challenging one, and obviously a technique that works for one specific child may or may not work for another child. So part of that is just knowing your own kids and recognizing where they are strong and where they struggle. So for example, my oldest, Rory, she likes to feel like she has agency. So she has a harder time in games where there's a lot of luck when she loses, because she does have that feeling of, well, that's not fair, you just got lucky. And part of the conversation with her is, that's right. Part of games is sometimes people do just get lucky in games, particularly if the game has a lot of luck in it. If you're rolling dice, you might roll terribly and I might roll really well. I might get exactly what I need. And that doesn't have any sort of reflection on her as a player. It doesn't reflect on her intelligence level. It doesn't reflect on, you know, how she can strategize. And that the key with gaming is that we have fun playing the game and spending time together. So it's really just a conversation that we have almost every single time, is if we're having fun, then we'll play. At any point, if we're not having fun, we stop. So sometimes we quit games in the middle because someone gets frustrated or it's not fun anymore. And I never want that to be what we leave it with, is to push it beyond the point where we're having fun.
Yeah, we've done the same thing. Like, we were playing a game and it was a live stream. We were playing, I'm not saying the game, I'm not going to say it, but we were playing the game, and it was just, it wasn't fun for the kids. They at that point, they were at their, you know, they're kind of like, it was getting late. They were getting cranky, and they were not liking the game. So I was like, hey, we're going to go ahead and stop right here. We give you a little taste of the game. Have a great night. So we kind of ended it like that, because I wasn't going to force them to play that game, because even I wasn't enjoying it. So it was kind of like one of those ones where it's like, okay, that's cool. And we have a rule where usually for our kids, we don't play games past 9 o'clock. We don't usually play board games past 9 o'clock. It's just one of those things where it's okay. You get tired, you get cranky, you get upset. And then if you lose at a game at that point and you're already in a cranky mood, it just becomes very sour very quickly.
Yeah.
So this past convention, though, that we went to, Tantrum Con, was the one convention where I think my son, my older son, stayed with me for a majority of one game night and played games all the way up till about 1 a.m. and had a blast. So that's
impressive.
Yeah, that was, I mean, they had a great kids programs too, which was amazing. They had like pillow fights and Among Us things. So, you know, where people were acting as the imposter and stuff like that. And miniature painting, which the kids loved, but definitely a lot of fun. Justin, you got some questions?
Well, we hit a lot of the topics I thought of. But one of the questions, so you talked a lot about the different types of content you do on Instagram, like the unboxings and stuff like that. What would you say is your favorite one to do that you enjoy the most?
That's a good question. I really have been enjoying the top nines. They're fun to put together, and I like being able to share games within a topic that I don't necessarily see all the time either on Instagram. So if it's a game that is a little bit of a hidden gem, even though maybe some people know about it, if it's something that I can share, then I really enjoy that. And seeing the people's comments in there, oh, I've never heard of this, or oh, that's one of my favorite games, or I've never thought of it that way. Those are really satisfying and just engaging in that conversation, and that being kind of the topic starter.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Well,
cool.
I think it's a perfect transition point, because in the same way that you really enjoy the top nines, part of this podcast, we do a surprise top five, and we try to hit a topic that somewhat relates to our guests. Tonight, our topic is kind of our top five, quote unquote, kids games. And we put it under, as long as the game is rated for at least ages 8 and up, or younger, in general, because there's such a wide spectrum of kids' abilities and such. But since we know how much your 8-year-old enjoys gaming, we set it at that level. So we both already have 5 games that pretty much meet that criteria, but we'll give you a chance to think about it if you want to join us. But first, Chris will go over our charity.
All right, our charity. Oh, yes. Our charity of the month is the 412 Food Rescue. The 412 Food Rescue was founded as a direct response to the disconnect between food waste, hunger, and environmental sustainability. We waste up to 40% of our food globally, translating to over 1.3 billion tons annually. This shouldn't happen while 1 in 7 people go hungry every day. According to the United Nations, if we recover all the food that is lost or wasted, we will have enough to feed all those who are hungry 4 times over. Not to mention, food waste is an environmental problem. Food production uses 10% of the energy budget, 50% of the land, and 80% of all fresh water consumed in the United States. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, over 97% of food waste generated ends up in a landfill. So 412 Food Rescue actually brings food to those in need that are dealing with food insecurity. And sometimes it may not look like a perfect zucchini. It doesn't look just like the zucchini like you see, but it actually looks like it's a real zucchini that came right out of the ground. But they go ahead and they get stuff from the different grocery stores. They get different food from different produce. They get supplies. And these volunteers drive out all throughout the area and making sure that people do not go hungry. So we recommend 412foodrescue.org. And you go take a look at that right now. And if you want to donate, you can do that. Or if you want to just get an information about how you can maybe help out with your community, highly recommend it. 412foodrescue.com or .org. Sorry.
All good. But yes, definitely a great cause to go check out. So we'll come back and now let's talk about the top 5 kids games. Alli, we'll give you the choice. Would you like to start us off, or would you like to go after us?
Oh, either way, I can start off.
Okay, we'll let you go off because we've had some guests feel like we've stolen their choice by speaking first. So we'll let you head off first.
Okay. Well, I'll just say that Kids Chronicles and Yummy Yummy Monster Tummy, will put those out as honorable mentions since I already mentioned them, and that they're Rory's basically her favorite games at the moment.
Sure.
So those are definitely worth checking out. Again, they're both app assisted, so if you don't like that, they might not be for you, but the apps work great and they're fantastic. So I'll do for number 5, Ice Cool. And Ice Cool is a dexterity flicking game, and it has these little bottom weighted penguins, plastic penguins, and you open up the box and it has nested boxes inside it. You set them all up, clip them together, and they have little doorways through. So you basically create this little mini school, and you're flicking your penguins around and trying to get them through the doorways to collect fish before the hall monitor catches you by flicking their penguin into you. And it has always gone over well. It's another game that we have gifted to other families that have children around the same age group. It works well for kids. It works well for adults. My mom has played it. I've played it. My daughters have both played it. Rory's favorite thing about it is that she says, I am very bad at flicking. And so she finds that hilarious, and that I flick it out of the board or it goes not where I expected it to. And she has a blast with that one.
Definitely a solid choice. That would probably be an honorable mention for me. Chris, I believe you have a couple of games that kind of lean into that dexterity style of gaming. If you want to talk about one of those.
Oh yeah. I'm going to start with Rhino Hero Super Battle. So this is from Haba. Haba, of course, puts a lot of hard work into their games, including anything that's under the age of 8. If I'm correct, you have to have some sort of psychologist or child psychologist to be able to verify the games are up to par and up to snuff to be able to have that rating. And Haba actually does that. So in this game, you are stacking these little towers and walls, and you're basically putting ceilings. And throughout the game, you'll roll the dice and you'll move your little superhero up and up and up. And at some point, it's all going to come down. And if you're the one that knocks it down, guess what? You didn't win, but at least you have some fun doing it. And it just can get super high. And it's one that our family has really enjoyed. And I love to bring it to conventions when I'm teaching games, because it's one that the kids really enjoy as well. So that is Rhino Hero Super Battle. What about you, Justin?
Well, I didn't have a dexterity base game on my list, but one that I guess you also stack things a little bit high. Tokanako, from Bombix, I believe is how you say it. But of course, in that you're stacking bamboo. And as you also build out the map, a little bit like Carcassonne, but they're hexagon tiles of different colors, and different bamboo colors can grow on those tiles. During the game, you get to move around the panda who's eating the bamboo. You have a gardener trying to help grow all the bamboo, but a very straightforward set collection style of game. That one is 8 and up, but it's pretty straightforward to teach, bright color, so it has great table presence. And of course, all the great components and pieces that you can stack up is great for those fiddly hands with kids at the table.
Yep.
So, Alli, what's another one you have?
All right, those are good choices. All right, so the next one that I'll pick is a cooperative game, and it's one that works really well for travel or when you go out, and it is Similo from Horrible Guild. I don't know if you guys have played that. I've got them down here below me, but we have every single set. And when I told Rory that they were coming out with a Harry Potter set, she was adamant that we had to get that right now. And it's not out just yet, but it'll be coming when it is. So in Similo, you play cooperatively, and one person will be the clue giver and everyone else who's playing will be the guessers. And you will set out 12 different character cards, depending on what set you're playing with. It could be fairy tale characters, it could be ancient Greeks or mythology characters. There's 2 different animal sets. And so you'll set those 12 cards out, and the clue giver can't talk. They have a set of 5 cards in their hand, and they will set one out onto the table, and they'll orient it either right, like vertically, or they'll turn it horizontally. And if they set it out vertically, it means that the character they've played is in some way similar to the secret character that everyone's trying to guess. And if they put it the other way, it means that that character is not like the character that you're trying to guess. And so each round, you're going to take out cards that you don't think are the one. And so you take out 1 the first round, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4 until you have 2 left. And then they'll give you one last clue, and you have to get rid of a character and leave in the secret one. And if you manage to keep the secret one in until the end, everybody wins. And if you don't, everybody loses. And this one has been a huge hit with us. It's actually one of our, if not the most played game in our collection. And a lot of times we'll play the digital app version that Horrible Guild has come out with. And it's one that we just kind of take with us wherever we go. And the girls will ask for my phone. Can we play Similo on your phone when we're in the car? And it's been a huge hit.
Sure. I believe we've actually played that on stream before, haven't we, Chris?
Yeah, we've played that. They have a Steam version, which is amazing. And of course, we also have the Similo. I think we have the Fables. We have, I think, Greek mythology. And what's the other one that we have? I forget. Oh, we got the spooky one. Spooky
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Really, really good. So, yeah, love it.
It's
Well,
on Board Game Arena also,
Ooh,
if
nice.
people want to try it out.
It's good.
Well, talking about co-op games, Chris, I believe you have a co-op game that's actually already been mentioned in this episode at some point already.
It has been, and it's Kids Chronicles Quest for the Moonstones from Lucky Duck Games. It's one that Elijah and I actually did on a live stream. We had a blast doing it, and the child, he just went wild. He did all the different voices as he's reading the text, and he's being silly. And then what's really cool about playing a game like that is then the next thing that my son asks is, hey, is it okay if I play this upstairs tomorrow? And I'm like, sure, go ahead. You want to play it? You go ahead and play it. It's upstairs, available for him to just quickly grab and put out on the table and play. That's kind of how it is. And of course, we've got our phones. We'll just let him borrow our phone while he plays and has a good time. But that is Kids Chronicles Quest for the Moonstones.
And I actually had one co-op style game on my list as well. Zombie Kids Evolution from Scorpion Mask. Basically like a kid's legacy style game. It's very straightforward in that everyone's controlling a character going around trying to lock off the school to prevent all the zombies that are coming in. But each turn you're just rolling a die and seeing where a new zombie comes in. But the game has multiple envelopes you can open as you play and kind of unlock little abilities and such. So it's very simplified legacy style games for those parents who are used to bigger games, but want to get kids more used to that legacy type of game. But being that it's zombies, it's very cutified for families and kids as well. So it works well for that. Back to you, Alli.
All right, awesome. Okay, the next one I'm going to pick is a classic, and it's one that I wished that I had when I was little and for some reason didn't. I don't know if I just didn't know about it or my parents didn't know about it, but it's Labyrinth. And we specifically have the Harry Potter version because, like I said, my oldest is a huge Harry Potter fan, so that's the one that we picked up. But it is a tile shifting game, and each tile has a pathway on it that usually has either 2 or 3 exits in different configurations of T's or like L's or straights. And so they don't all line up when you set all the tiles out. And your goal is to move your pawn by taking the one extra tile that's out and sliding it in either on the top, bottom, or left or right, and shifting all of the tiles in the row or column so that they hopefully line up better than they were. And you can move your pawn around along the corridors that are now connected to try and find, in the Harry Potter one, you're trying to locate the different characters. Everyone has a set of ones they're looking for. Once they've found all of theirs, they go back to their house, their corner, and then that's how you win. And I really like it for kids because it helps them with that spatial reasoning of having a tile in hand and then trying to visualize, if I shift this row, if I shift this column, will things line up the way that I need them to? And when we're playing with really young kids, because we've had this game for a while now, we do allow them to shift it down and then shift it back if they decide that's not what they want to do. But ideally, as they get older, they won't have to do that anymore. They'll be able to see it in their mind and be able to take their turn and shift it. And we also modify it a little bit for the younger kids in that traditionally you would have a stack of cards and you do one at a time. And that's how I play personally for myself, is I'll just take the one off the top and that's the one I have to go find. For younger kids, I let them see all of their cards at once, and then they can pick the order that they do them in. So if there's one that they're already fairly well lined up for, they can do those ones first, and it lets them go a bit faster, even though they maybe are not making the best moves as far as where they're shifting things in. So.
Great choice. Chris, well, I based on the games we have list on the list, we don't have ones that exactly like that.
No.
I think the best transition is when you do have one that you have to have some spatial awareness and there's some shifting going on, but in a different way.
Yeah, that would be Hammer Time from Haba. Hammer Time is one of those fun, cute games where you're basically hitting the box. Basically, you're hitting the bottom of the box. You got this little, almost like mouse pad style covering that's kind of sticking to the back of the box, and you have all these little dragons gems, and you're just kind of tapping it, and as soon as one comes off, you take it and you can put it on your cart. So you've got like a little mining cart. What makes it more fun, especially for adults, is if you roll the dice and you do the variant, which is you roll the dice and you have to do the thing that the dice says. So there's ones where you have to hit the gems blind, where you just can't see. There's one where you have to lay your head on the table and you have to play it that way. There's ones where you have to use your fist to knock the gems off. So all these things kind of come into play, and it just makes for a lot of laughter, especially when you hit it too hard and all the gems go off, because once you get more than 9, you have to put them all back on. You don't get to keep any of those. So yeah, that is Hammer Time.
Nice. One of the next ones on my list, it's a little bit older, is Get Bit from Mayday Games. There's a new version that was just on Kickstarter with Greater Than Games. Basically, it's just everyone has a swimmer in the water trying to swim away from a shark and not get bit. So everyone has a hand of cards numbered, I believe it's like 1 through 9, and each round you're playing one face down, and then everyone reveals, and the higher the number you have, the faster you swam. So whoever's in the back of the line loses like one of the limbs off their little miniature that's on the table. And so just along the game, you start to see little swimmers that have like one leg and an arm left as they're trying to swim away from the shark. And so it's just basically the last survivor standing. But it's fun to just kind of be able to take the pieces off the little miniatures and reassemble them at the end. Kind of, it has that kind of fidget element to it for kids, but there's also that kind of strategy of, do I swim fast now, or do I wait a little bit as people are swimming fast, then swim ahead of them to get back to the front of the line? So a lot of fun, but also, of course, plays really fast, small box to travel well. And back to you, Allie.
Okay. All right. My next pick is going to be one that works well for kids that have been playing games for a little while and they're ready sort of for the next step up. And this pick is going to be My Little Scythe from Stonemaier Games.
Yes.
And this is one that Rory has started asking for a lot more lately. We've had it for a while, and she just recently has started pulling it out herself and saying, let's play this. And it's a super fun game, very cute. I have not played Scythe, so I can't really say how it compares. I've heard that it's very close as far as it feels inspired by Scythe, which it was. But I love the cutesy theme. I love the little miniatures and doing pie fights for combat. So even when you're going into those combat sort of situations, it's still silly and fun, and it's a kid's game. You're throwing pies at each other, and that little bit of extra where they have to think about, if I start a fight, I'm going to get potentially the gems and the apples that are there on their space, but I'm also going to lose a friendship. So am I going for the friendship track to try and earn a trophy? Or do I not care about that? Am I going with a different strategy? And it's great for kids to start to experience a game where there's different paths to victory, and it's not just one path. And what someone else at the table is doing to try to win isn't necessarily what you're going to do or what you have to do, or you can take the same approach, or you can go a different approach. So when we played most recently, Rory decided she wanted to go pretty heavy on the pie fight side, and she kept attacking me and stealing all my stuff, but she had so much fun with that one.
Yeah, Justin and I both had, since we knew each other, we're both super wanting to play Scythe. We were really wanting to get into it and get excited about it, and we finally played Scythe, and I think we both just were kind of like, well,
part of it, we probably waited too long to play it.
Yeah, we did. I think
we
the
were both
hype-
like,
the
hyped,
hype
okay, we're
was
going
so
to learn
built
it
up.
together after
Yeah.
we learned we both hadn't tried it. And of course, we were probably a bit tired that day we tried it because it was
Oh gosh.
end of a long day.
Mhm.
And we both didn't really know the game, and we tried to learn it while streaming. That was just probably the
People
bad
were
idea,
helping us
so.
in the chat. It was
Yeah.
wild. So thank
Like,
goodness for that.
I could see all the good things about it, but probably the experience we had was not the best
Mhm.
for the game itself.
Yeah, it honestly, and afterwards, I realized something. I like My Little Scythe a lot more than base game Scythe. It seriously is that enjoyable. Like it's cute. It's cute and it's well done. Hobby Chow and his daughter, they took the time to apply Scythe to a kid's level, and I mean, there's just something great about it. And the Pie in the Sky expansion is really cool. So yeah, I love it as well. I have to say that it's one that that I thoroughly like more than base game Scythe. And I know somebody's going to probably watch this later and be like, I can't believe he said that, but guess what? I did. So I like
It's
My
okay.
Little
We
Scythe
all
more than
have our
Scythe.
favorites and opinions, and they're all, for the most part, valid.
most part. For me,
Oh.
my next one that I've got is one that Justin told me earlier. Oh, that doesn't hit the age bracket. Well, I still did it anyway. So, and that is Kingswood from 25th Century Games, a game that uses a nice rondel mechanic where you're kind of going across to different locations, collecting coins, collecting books, collecting spells, and collecting swords and everything to be able to fight these cute, amazingly beautiful monsters done by the wonderful Tristan Morrison. And as you take on the monsters, of course, you get points. And once you get to 20, you finish up the round, and whoever has the most points at the end of that round wins. So that's just one of those games that we loved. I think it was one of our first games that we've gotten upgrades components to, where we have metal coins and we have like that nice wooden tokens and everything that Chad sent our way. And I've got a 25th Century mug that he sent with it, just as a thank you, because I think I've talked so much about Kingswood as soon as we started playing it, because it's one that I thoroughly enjoy a lot. So that's Kingswood from 25th Century Games.
Yeah, so I made fun from that it didn't meet the metric because we looked it up and technically it does say ages 10 and up. But again, like
Easy
we talked
reading.
about,
Easy reading.
yeah, so
kids,
it's
yeah.
easy reading, but we talked about all kids are at different levels, their own level, and sometimes they're ready for a more advanced style game, or maybe the age requirement isn't perfectly what the box says, and that's okay. But we just want to make sure, because we started the topic as saying ages 8 and up. We will let you know if you look that one up. It will say 10 and up. You talked about kind of having to defeat monsters in that one. The next one on my list is 5 Minute Dungeon from Wiggles 3D. This is another one of those app integrated ones that has a timer, and it really is, you play in 5 minutes. Everyone is playing as a different character with their own little deck of cards, and as you go through trying to face off against the monsters in the monster deck, you have to play down certain cards, certain symbols to defeat the cards and continue and try to beat the boss at the end of it. I actually backed this way back when it was on Kickstarter, got the special like big boss baby miniature, which was fun to have and see on the table. And of course the app is great as well too, because you have multiple choices on the voices that you use, and it makes it really lighthearted and fun to do it. So I've always enjoyed bringing that to the table with kids and adults.
Now I only have one issue with Wiggles 3D. There's no Anthony, there's no Greg, there's no Jeff, there's no Dorothy the dinosaur, there's no Captain Feathersword. I saw no Wiggles at all in this game. 0 out of 5 stars because it has no real Wiggles in it.
Well, I don't think they advertised it that way.
No, they don't even mention fruit salad. I was so upset.
Oh man. Yeah, that's a great choice. We have 5 Minute Mystery from them.
Mm-hmm.
And that was our first ever real-time game where you use a timer and you have to go fast and you actually can run out of time and lose that way. And that's just one of the most fun games. It's super stressful, but in a good way, because it's that short period of stress where you're like, we're not going to make it. And I like the logic deduction piece of 5-Minute Mystery.
Well, and that stress if you do somehow mess up and not make it. It's only 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'll just try again. Exactly.
Exactly. All right. So I'm having trouble narrowing down my fifth choice because there's just so many excellent games to pick from. But I feel like I've picked some that are kind of tending on that older age range for kids. And so I'll, for my last one, pick one that works really well for the littlest kids. And it's going to be right over here, which is Dragomino. And we've really loved this game. We had already owned King Domino, which is a favorite with really my whole family. We play it a lot on Board Game Arena when we have family game nights, because my family lives in 3 different states. So we play it on there. But my oldest had played King Domino, the original one, before Dragomino came out. But Dragomino works really, really well for the littlest kids because you don't have any requirements on your dominoes that the terrains have to match. You can put them anywhere as long as the side connects. And so the placement rules are very simple to explain, but then it gets them starting to think about, okay, I don't have to match the sides, but if I do match the sides, then I get to get a dragon egg, and it could have a dragon in it, and that's how I win. And if the egg doesn't have a dragon, it's one of the cracked eggs that's empty, then you get the mama dragon, and the girls just love that there's some sort of compensation when you don't get a point towards the end scoring. And it goes really, really fast. It's very, very simple. And it's one that we pull out quite a bit.
Nice. Definitely a solid pick. Chris, what's the last one on your list?
Last one on my list is from Bezier Games. It's called One Night Ultimate Supervillains. Now, normally I would say One Night Ultimate Werewolf, and that's one that I have loved a lot with our family. But the one thing I really like a lot about One Night Ultimate Supervillains is it takes some of those roles that's from the other One Night series and puts them into one game. So you almost have like a greatest hits of different characters. But it's all superheroes, supervillains, and the innocent bystanders, which are basically in place of the villagers. And one of the things that's nice about this game is the app. So the app, you can actually tap and hold on to the image of one of the characters, and it will read what the role does, which is great for kids because that way you can show it, they can hear it, and they see it. So, and then if they have the card, of course, they're able to see it. So what I'll usually do is I'll have the cards out on the table, I'll show the app, I'll hold it, and I'll kind of have the card like I'm reading a storybook, and it works really well. Something else that I really like about One Night Ultimate Supervillains and all the other One Night Ultimate games, it's talking about trying not to get killed. This one is about not getting caught because supervillains don't want to get caught by the superheroes. And that's a little bit different. And I like that terminology and the verbiage, because when you're teaching it to kids around that age of 8 and younger, you don't know what their parents have allowed and everything. So you want to be, you want to keep it family friendly. And I don't get me wrong, I think One Night Ultimate Werewolf is a great game. I love the game. I will teach it to families any day of the week. But One Night Ultimate Supervillains just has the right amount of the characters and has beautiful terminology and Eric Summers' voice, which is always a delight. So One Night Ultimate Supervillains by Bezier Games.
Nice. I definitely need to play that with you when I'm over there. I'm not sure I've played the Supervillains version yet. The last game on my list, another game from Mayday Games, is Walk the Plank. Very straightforward in that each player is kind of controlling a small collection of essentially pirates on a ship. The plank is and you're trying to be last survivor. I have the last group standing, but there's planks that extend off the boat, and you can use your cards to essentially kind of push other players down that plank and potentially push them into the water. But you can also take pieces away from that plank. So people may think, oh, I'm really far away from falling in. And then like multiple people play drop the planks, and then you're already at the edge, and you never know what's happening. But the way it's set up is you actually play several cards in a round. And so it teaches planning ahead really well because you're programming, but things can change. Like you think you have everything figured out, but one little thing that someone else does could just kind of throw everyone's plan off. And it's just fun to see the mayhem that happens as all these pirates are kind of falling off the boat and hoping you're the last one standing of the group. So yeah, that was everyone's top 5 kids games. For the most part, ages 8 and up. We have some younger, and the one we talked about that was 10 and up, Kingswood. Chris, do we have any closing comments today or anything else we want to talk about?
Yeah, we want to give a quick shout out to Chelsea. We love you, Chelsea. We hope that you have an amazing time. If you are listening to this and you are going to be, or watching this, of course, Chelsea's going to Gamma. She's going to be hanging out at Gamma and enjoying the experience, meeting with all the different publishers and getting as much coverage as she possibly can. She was selected for the scholarship program that they have, which is awesome because that's going to take care of her hotel. It's going to pay for part of her travel and for a majority of the meals while she's there, which is great. So we want to say a special thank you to Gamma for making this something possible for the media people. Really appreciate that you do that. And we just wish that, Chelsea, we love you. We hope you have an amazing time there. We miss you tonight, but we're super excited for you. And then also, Alli, it was a pleasure as always to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me. This was really fun.
Let everybody know where they can find you. And also, don't forget to mention your blog as well. So that way people can go check that content out.
Yep. So our blog is familymeeple.com. On Instagram, we are at family_meeple. And on Facebook, we are the Family Meeple. So if you search for Family Meeple on any of those, you will find us. We also have a Twitter page. We mostly just post our Instagram content to Twitter when we share those. So you can follow us on any of those 3.
Awesome. Well, folks, we want to say special thank you for listening or watching. We had a great time. And of course, check out the Family Meeple, support Alli, and check out Friday, where there'll be another thing with the Gateway Network. Like what you said, it's the Gateway Off, right?
It's Gateway Game Off.
Gateway
so follow
Game Off.
Hashtag Gateway Game Off.
Excellent. So make sure that you follow that and, have fun voting for who you like more in regards to the image or the game or how it plays. Like I said, again, I enjoyed Small Islands over Underwater Cities. Take that, Jeff. All right, folks. Well, I'm Chris.
And I'm Justin. And thank you for listening to the Meeples of Joy podcast.
All right, guys. Do you have problems sometimes taking photos? Okay, there we go. There's a smile. I mean, with my kids, yeah, we do. But it's a lot easier when we're playing Picture Perfect from Arcane Wonders, a game that we highly recommend and is in stores now, or you can go ahead and order straight from their website, link down below.
Hey, thanks for watching our video.
If you like what you saw here, go ahead and hit that little like, subscribe, the little bell thingamabobber, you know the thing, and watch some of our videos. Maybe one that's maybe up here, or maybe down there, or over there, or down there. I don't know where they are, but thank you all. Remember, when we can gather at the table, we can do the same for a good cause. Bye.
Bye.